Hello and welcome to the WB Mason Coach Report with head men's basketball coach Joe Mihalich. Welcome, Coach.
It's great to be here.
Coach, let's recap the week that was, a 1-1 week, the start of conference play, road game at Delaware and a home game at Charleston. Your overall thoughts on the week?
Well, you know, when the scheduling gods came out with our schedule and we saw that we'd be playing two of the better teams in the league, to start, you know, you realize you better be ready to go. And so at Delaware, I thought we played very well. Obviously not good enough to win, but 13-point lead in the first half against a team with, I think, 1 through 6 as talented as anybody in the league. Had a chance to win the game and left there with the appropriate amount of disappointment and yet spirit, knowing that if we played as hard as we played that night, that we could win some games. And then, sure enough, it proved to be true because we came out with that same spirit here against also a very good team, College of Charleston, and played well, and we were able to get one.
Start with the Delaware game. You got some great performances. Jordan Allen specifically, 18 points, career high. Stephen Walcone continues to expand on his ability to rebound, 11 rebounds in that game high. And obviously what you've been getting all season from the likes of Dion and Zeke. Can you just talk about the individual performances in that game?
I'm so happy for Jordan Allen. He's playing the way he's playing right, and for Stephen as well, of course. You know, we talked to these guys individually. I met with each guy individually after that FDU game, and talked with Jordan Allen about just going back to being that scrappy, you know, do the little things, grab offensive rebounds, get deflections on defense, be one of our better defenders kind of guy. And that's just what he went out and did both games. I mean, I think it was 2 best games of the year. And then it's funny, when I had the same meeting with Steve Walcone, you know, I said, you should, every game, go out there and try to be the best rebounder and the best interior defender. He said, is that what you want me to do? And I said, yeah, that's what I want you to do. He said, okay, I'll do it. and he did too. So, you know, hopefully we're finding ourselves a little bit here now. We've just played 2 games, but you know, we're excited to keep this going.
It's interesting, both games are kind of the opposite happening each. The Delaware game, Hofstra jumps out to the huge first half lead. The Charleston game, Charleston jumps out to the huge first half lead. What went right in the Charleston game that didn't go right in the Delaware game in the situations that happened?
Right. Well, let's start with the Delaware game first. Our guys were ready to go. I mean, we were really locked in, and we just took it to them. You know, it was, you know, one of those sports phrases, I guess, is to you know, theoretically be the team that throws the first punch, and we kind of did that. We really came out ready to go and had some success, and just too bad we couldn't sustain it. You know, we do get a little worn out. Whereas with the Charleston game, it was the other way around. I mean, they came out, and I'm not going to lie to you, in the middle of the first half, we were down 15 against Charleston. This wasn't a good feeling, and that's where we didn't talk about Zeke Upshaw. That's where Zeke Upshaw, I'm so happy for him. He basically said, you know what, enough's enough. Let me make some plays, and that's what the good players do. He kind of took over there, and I wish I could say it was some incredible coaching, but it wasn't. It was Zeke Upshaw just saying, let me make some plays here.
We continually talk about Zeke Upshaw, but how remarkable has his performance been so far this year? He's already scored over 300 points after a career at Illinois State, which he only scored 100. Can you just put in, and you've talked about him becoming the focus here and how hard that's been for him, but he's still been able to do it.
I'm amazed at what he's done. I really am. And you know, you have to stop and put it all in perspective, as you just did. You know, when we had this, I keep referring to these meetings, but when we had this meeting with him, he said, Coach, I'm not used to this. And it hit me like a ton of bricks. Why would he be used to this? You know, he plays 40 minutes a game. He's got to be our leading scorer. We want him to play great defense. You know, he's not used to this. And for that reason, it's amazing what he's doing.
Let's focus on the Charleston game now. That end of that first half run, I mean, obviously you can't sugarcoat it. Was that ultimately the key to that game, to getting that deficit to only 4 points heading into the break?
Well, without a doubt. I mean, we couldn't go in at halftime being down 15. And you just dig yourself such an incredible hole. And, you know, let's face it, we just don't have the manpower to recover from a half. You know, when the clock starts ticking down, you need more minutes. So, you know, it just gave us a little bit of hope going into the second half.
You win that game now on the road. Big week this week, travel-wise. Game at UNC Wilmington on Wednesday, and then the rescheduled SMU game on Sunday night. How important is Wednesday's game, you know, to continue playing well?
Oh, well, you know, I mean, it's it's huge. I mean, you know, we're going to have to play very well. I watched a bunch of tape yesterday on these guys, and you know, I don't, you know, they're a lot like us. They're a lot like us. They are right there. They're right there. There are a couple shots made here, a couple rebounds there away from being a team that can win any time out. So it'll be a challenge.
Yeah, 0-3 in conference, but 2 of the losses are very close, and the one double-digit loss is actually in overtime. So very competitive all season long.
Oh, it's you know, there's a bunch of teams that I think you just kind of clump together. I think I don't want to mention names because it'll be bulletin board material against us, but you know, there's probably 2 or 3 or 4 teams that are a little bit better than everybody else. Then you just clump everybody else together. So you know, it has makings of a good night.
So after the first of this week's plane trips down to Wilmington, North Carolina on Wednesday, non-conference game at SMU on Sunday, is having a non-conference game at this point in the season a good or bad thing?
Well, it's not what you'd like. I mean, that's for sure. I mean, we had that hole in our schedule, and it would have been nice to just, you know, lick our wounds a little bit, regroup for the last 6 weeks of the season, get some recruiting done. But you know, you can't control Mother Nature. I mean, we got snowed out the last time we were going to SMU, and this is when we're rescheduling it. So, you know, we'll turn it into a positive. It's a great team and a great program, and with a Hall of Fame coach, so it'll be a great experience.
Yeah, good chance for you guys to kind of just find their way. If you know somebody's having trouble, or continue with the positives if they're playing well. Type of game, isn't it?
Absolutely, absolutely. And I always said the non-conference games. I mean, you know, you sharpen your teeth for conference play, and to play a team like SMU, it can only help us get better as we go on to play Drexel and Towson and teams like that.
And then the week following, back home at the MAC for 2 home conference games. Just the momentum needs to start rolling now if the hope of a successful season's in it.
Well, sure, and like, there's all you can break your season, your schedule up into so many little categories, and you know, it's your non-conference and your conference. I mean, it's the non-conference schedule's over. We let a couple get away. Really came close to winning some games we had no business winning, but it's all over. We're 1-1 right now. If anybody wants to know where we are right now, we're 1-1, and we're excited to play the next game.
Well, thanks for joining us today, Coach.
Thanks for having me. It's always a pleasure.
And thank you for joining us today for the WB Mason Coach Report with head men's basketball coach Joe Mihalich.